Hello, friend. Here we are, gate number 9. This is the gate of focus. So the taming power of the small. The ninth gate, again, we're in this fourth quarter. So remember, we're in this transformation, this mutational energy that happens up here. The ninth gate sits in the sacral center, and this is actually a picture of my design and that ninth gate. So this is the gate of determination to maintain focus. It is in the logical circuitry. So here's what's important to understand about the logical circuitry is it has a finite amount of energy. And I know you're going, well, this is sitting in the sacral center. The sacral center has lots of energy. But the beginning of the logic starts here in the 58, goes up to 18, 48, 16. So this is starved of energy. There's a fuel there, but then it goes through the spleen, which is actually an awareness center. Versus the exponential way, which is 41, 30, 36, 35. And there's energy there. There is, this solar plex is at this time still a motor and an awareness center. So that fuel goes up to another motor, which then pushes up to the throat. And there is lots of momentum there. So it can get to a place of manifestation, because remember, manifestation happens when there is a motor connected to the throat. Well, the solar plex at this time is still a motor. Here, even though the root is fueling this logical energetic, it goes through an awareness center up to the throat. Well, that's not manifestation. Manifestation has to take place with a motor. And then you're going to say, well, Leanne, the ninth gate is in the sacral center. There's lots of energy there. Yes. However, the logical circuitry is based over here. Yes, the 52, the 9, the 5, the 15, the 7, the 31, the 62, 17, 4, and 63 are also logical. However, the very, the core of that logical understanding is that it needs energy and it needs money. So hence the reason why the scientific community is constantly raising money to, test and retest. And it's, it lobbies for money. It's always looking for money. You always see how such and such research was backed by blah, blah, blah company, because logic can't do this on its own. It cannot manifest without energy. So this ninth gate, the whole very base premise of logic is that, it knows it has a finite amount of energy. So what's really fun is this ninth gate for me will only focus in on the details that it has the energy to expend itself on. So my sacral center, mostly, for the most part, pays attention to the patterns and the details of human behavior. Hence the reason I freaking love human design. It's not so much, wanting to jump into the math world or any of that. My human design is not really super interested in all of those details, even though I do study people like Greg Braden and Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton. They've already done the work to look at the science and then bring it forward. And then what I like to do is I marry that with human design and the human behavior behind all of that science. I don't want to go into scientific journals and I'm not interested in that. The details that my human design enjoys is actually the patterns of people. And it's funny, I'll point something out to somebody and they're like, oh, I never noticed that before. And it'll be a pattern that will have been like, they do it. They'll have a conversation about something and, maybe they rub their face in a certain way, things like that. Or I watch relationships, and whether or not, well, that's for a different time and story and place, but whether I'm creating the outcome or not through my thoughts, I can watch a relationship and see the patterns, and already know what the outcome's going to be. But that's what my gate 9 does. It's not so much looking at scientific journals and digging in there. It's more so watching human behavior and watching and paying attention to those details, and to animals. We have a cattle herd, and my 9th gate, like, I pay attention to, like right now we're in calving season, so we're calving, and I can watch the little calves and I can see exactly, are they thriving? Do they need a little bit of assistance? Do they need some help? Have they had some, like, have they got up to eat? All of these kind of things. I watch that all by years of experience, watching their behaviors and watching how, like, what they need. And if there's something lacking, I'm paying attention to that. So the 9th gate for somebody else who might have a lot in the logical stream may be completely different, right? It may operate in a way where going into those, like, doing the science and being in a laboratory and doing that would really intrigue them. That doesn't intrigue me. Mine is more so based off of human behavior, animal behavior, nature's behavior, that kind of stuff. So testing and retesting the pattern, it's not so much that I'm doing that in a laboratory. It is more so I am watching these patterns happen, and then I can intervene if needed to and help out with that when asked, when my body responds, of course. And it's paying attention to those human and animal and nature behaviors. So really it's about assessing formula in a different way, assessing formula from the viewpoint of that human pattern versus the scientific pattern. So now, without the 52nd gate, like mine, right, may not be able to sit long enough to concentrate. Well, what I have witnessed here, and of course I'm giving you some of my experience in these videos so that you can then look at your design and go, oh, okay, or no, maybe that isn't how your design works, because the mechanics are going to operate. The mechanics are there, the core mechanical understanding of it is there, and then depending on what it's going on with your design, it may, like, it's going to look completely different. So what I find is the ability to not concentrate happens for my design if I'm in my head. If the head is trying to shoulda, woulda, coulda, or wanting to pull me down a path of worry or anxiety, whatever you want to call it, that's when the concentration isn't going to happen. My root is defined, and unconsciously, that 53rd gate brings that root pressure up to my sacral. It's not the 52nd gate, it's the 53rd gate, which is all about experience, cycles, that human interaction. So yes, there, when I am me, when I'm sitting in my true self and not allowing the mind to, kind of bat me around like a tennis ball, I do have the ability to concentrate on those human patterns. And what's really critical here is when I've entered into experiences based off of the health of my sacral center, that available energy, then I have available energy to focus in on that kind of stuff. So again, very interesting to watch how it all plays out. So if you have the 9th gate, if you have lots of logic in your system, yours might look a lot different than mine. I don't have a ton of logic. I have more, it's more on the experiential, the human behavior kind of side. So that's how my patterns look. And, paying attention is important to me. Paying attention to, that human understanding, animal understanding, nature understanding. So pay attention, you know, or just play with the ninth gate if you have it in your design, and just see, you know, what does that look like for you? And anytime that there's energy between the root and the sacral center, so these three pillars here, depression can set in within these three pillars. I'm not going to totally get into that, but melancholy is part of our designs for sure. When you have individual, you know, any kind of individual activity or activations. But if you know, the ninth gate isn't present, but the 52nd gate is, that 52nd gate wants to, you know, use that fuel, and then concentrate it up into the ninth gate so that ninth gate can focus. So what can, you know, happen is that depression can set in because that 52nd gate doesn't have anything to focus that fuel on. And then it will focus on stuff that isn't correct for it. So the mind will say, well, you got to focus your energy somewhere, concentrate on this. And you become exhausted because it's actually, that focus didn't happen through your strategy and authority. So again, strategy and authority, strategy and authority, strategy and authority, always. So again, here's my design. So as you see, you know, in the logic, you know, that 8th gate or 18th gate and this 9th gate are all that I have in the logical, you know, circuitry of human design. So based off of that, most of my focus goes into tribal people and collective experiential focus. So again, pay attention to where your, you know, what is in your design, and then you just play with it and synthesize it. And you know, you might read the mechanics, you know, you grab the definitive book of human design, this one here, that, you know, is the original teachings of Ra, put together by Linda Bunnell. And you get that and you're reading it and it's like, that doesn't make any sense. It's about synthesizing the entire design, you know, because really it's saying the ninth gate is so darn logical. Well, I do have a little bit of logic in my design, and I have a lot of openness. So I've gained a lot of wisdom on logic, but that's not my innate nature. So it's being able to synthesize and play with that. And again, if there's anything in design that you want to go over, chat about, learn about, let me know, and let's connect and let's do some work together. Awesome. Thank you for your time.